In a commercial or retail lease, rent is only one of the things the tenant has to pay. Additional costs called outgoings are usually passed on to the tenant by the landlord. But if outgoings are not drafted properly, they can become troublesome and costly. So what are outgoings? Outgoings are the landlord's reasonable expenses related to the premises that can be passed on to the tenant if properly documented in the lease. Some examples of outgoings are taxes, charges and fees, land and water rates, day-to-day premises costs paid by the landlord, body corporate fees, maintenance and repair services paid by the landlord, insurances, marketing and advertising services for a shopping centre. If you are a landlord and want the tenant to pay for the outgoings, you must include some provisions in the lease, such as you will give estimates of future outgoings to the tenant at particular intervals in the lease, usually at the beginning of each financial year, account to the tenant at the end of the interval for the actual expenditure compared to the estimate, adjust if necessary between the landlord and the tenant for the difference between what has been paid. As a landlord, before you enter a lease, make sure all outgoings you wish to collect from the tenant are clearly and specifically disclosed in the lease and the disclosure statement. The lease contains all the provisions mandated by the Leases, Commercial and Retail Act 2001. As a tenant, make sure you read and understand the lease and disclosure statement. Where your lease is one of several premises in a particular building, make sure the outgoings are fairly apportioned in the lease by reference to the lettable area of your premises. If you want to know more about what counts as recoverable outgoings, contact the Chamberlain's property team.